Hi everyone again, and welcome to Yandex.Direct online training. This is the first whole day online training that we're running this year. And today I'm going to be your host. My name is Anton Ivanov, and I hold the Associate Digital Director position at FowrardPMX. And also I'm a Yandex training coach since last year. And it's a great honor for me to present today for you this deck. Before we start, let me clarify once again the purpose of this training. So it's to give you digital analysts and marketers of all levels helicopter view of ad solutions for businesses. So we'll start from the basics of Yandex Engine and ad solutions. We'll go through search and display products and the value of Yandex machine learning algorithms. And this will bring us to the position where you will find out by the end of this training the core things that Yandex wanted to let all of you know. So why we are here today and why I'm speaking on behalf of Yandex and FowrardPMX. Together with Yandex, FowrardPMX has had a very strong and long-lasting partnership for the past almost 9 years. The agency and the engine gone through multiple challenges and evolved during almost a decade of partnership. So this is now called an exclusive partnership. It's when FowrardPMX is the exclusive official Yandex training center, and also Yandex appreciates and values the feedback that we provide for product development and the agency analysis. We are also delighted to have an early access to closed betas. This ultimately brings us to the point where our clients benefits first in the line. I now would like to go and start the core presentation from our side. I will turn off my webcam to make sure that the connection is very stable. If any questions, please do let me know. You can ask these questions on the questions tab in the web interface or in the desktop app. So please do ask questions. My colleagues and I will hope to answer this by the end of this section within 2 hours. So please do. Okay. Now I'll talk you through the Yandex in Russia. So today, Russia is very unique to its territory. It is the biggest country in the world, and this means that people are not only separated by physical distance, but also a time difference makes a really huge gap. Russia has 11 time zones, which makes marketers really rethink the approach on how to do their marketing activities. Let's talk about search landscape in Russia. So regardless of when you look at the search split, either it's late 90s where search engines evolved, or during the past 2 decades, you will find out that Yandex was a consistent leader of search in Russia. And to answer the question that why Yandex is the leader of these years, we'll talk about this in a few moments, but at the time being, Yandex holds almost 60% of search market share, and the device split between desktop and mobile is, as you can see on the screen, so almost 70% of internet users in Russia accesses through desktop, and mobile from almost 55% access from mobile. The agenda of today's training will be as planned, so no changes here. We'll start, we have already started 5 minutes ago, and we'll discuss Yandex Core, and I'll explain what this will be. Then we'll go to the business strategies and intro to Yandex Metrica. We'll then talk about overview of Yandex products, the paid products that Yandex provides, And finally, we're going to talk through about reporting and mass changes instruments. And in the very end, we'll have a separate session for ads for mobile apps. This allows our North American partners, North American colleagues to also join and listen. So let's go and start with and kick off with the Yandex core. I'd like to begin my speech with explanation why Yandex is so important for Russians. So Yandex historically was at the heart of Russian audience, either developing products and services that is very close to the user and very close to the search patterns of the user. It's the core search engine, the translation app, the video part of the search, and the images. Or we can think of entertainment for someone with media services like music or fish or radio. Or finally, some very local niche services like Yandex Taxi, which is really great in Russia, and this is now the #1 taxi service across any city in Russia. The local apps like Navigator or Yandex Maps is also very unique and providing the best experience for Yandex for Russian user. And finally, Yandex went further and developed a dozen of personal and informational services that will answer Russian consumer needs, from the money wallet to the jobs and flights details overview. And this all means that Yandex is truly at the core of Russian customer, and not only in search, but also across different aspects of life. To tell you more about Yandex as not a software company only, but as a technological giant, let me provide you very quickly 3 examples of how Yandex is doing nowadays. So first of all, the self-driving cars. This was the pilot project that was launched in December 2017, and there was the first taxi tested, and it's still undergoing tests and it still requires a driver. This was the first hard project that Yandex entered on the streets. The next thing I wanted to note is the Yandex car sharing service. The Yandex Drive is very widely spread across different locations across Russia, and now Yandex holds a fleet of cars, which is the 3rd world biggest fleet by amount of cars. This is a car sharing service that everyone knows, regardless of whether they have a driver license or not. This is the second point to the idea that Yandex is not a software company only. And furthermore, Yandex has launched in that, again, year 2017, the artificial assistant, Alice. That was the first conversational intelligence assistant in Russia to support Russian language. Now Yandex search and voice is 20% of all searches. So this means that Yandex had to prepare the next generation of products and services to acquire the voice traffic. And we as marketers have to rethink the idea of the next decades and how to approach the marketing strategies of brands we lead. Okay, now let's talk about Yandex.Direct. This is the core system, the Yandex ad system. So Yandex.Direct, and it is surrounded by different products, starting from the very top left corner where we have Yandex.Direct, which is very similar to Google AdWords, Google Ads nowadays. It's just a system for placing ads, either on search or on display or on Yandex Advertising Network. Now I'll go clockwise, and I'll continue with Yandex Metrica. This is in short, this is a free analytical solution that is essential for website analysis and is heavily used at some paid ad products such as smart banners. We'll talk through Metrica in details and smart banners product in the details later during the day. Next bit is ads for mobile apps. This is also a very unique product Yandex is providing. This is a self-explanatory thing for placing ads for mobile apps. Yandex Metrica is the analytics solution for mobile apps. It provides really in-depth app analysis and seamlessly integrates into Yandex.Direct to feed the signals in-app actions. WordStat is also a very unique thing that Yandex provides for marketers. Is a service to research keywords, and it's very useful for marketers from day one of their paid search campaign activity. We'll cover this also during the day. Direct Commander, and this is an offline editor tool, and this helps marketers to manage multiple campaigns simultaneously. We'll also cover this and main features of this offline editor during the day later, closer to the evening. The Yandex Market is a price comparison website, first of all, and it also allows advertisers to place the feeds of their products and compete for the viewability of the end customer. And finally, Yandex Audience is a tool very similar to Google's Customer Match, and this tool provides marketers opportunity to upload and link multiple sources from first-party data to second-party data and custom DSPs. As I said, we're going to cover most of these products later during the day, and we'll start with Yandex.Direct ad types and formats. So to start with, there are two main placements, and we'll walk through about this again a bit later in Yandex: the search and Yandex advertising network, Yandex ad network, or Yan. So on search, the only method of purchasing traffic is CPC. Hence, there are many different products that Yandex provides for this purchasing model. It's text and image ads, ads for mobile apps, dynamic ads, search banners, or smart banners. We'll talk about each of these products later during the day again. On Yandex ad network, you will find two methods of traffic purchasing. It's either CPC model or CPM for 1,000 of impressions. Both have its own pros and cons, and we'll list some of these pros and cons during the day to find out the unique features of this. Now, in terms of how each campaign and what ad formats has each campaign, we'll start with text and image campaign. This can be served either on search or Yandex ad network, and text with text or text and image version of the ad copy, or a banner itself with text on it, or a video, like a video extension. I'll also talk through about this and show you some examples how it looks like. Dynamic search ads, or DSA, or ads for mobile apps. These two campaign types are only available on search and may come either in text or text and image format. Display campaigns is the one for Yandex ad network only, and it comes with banner, video, audio, or DOH formats. It's a very interesting range of solutions that Yandex provides for brands willing to reach their customer in different ways, from image to audio or even offline banner on the streets. Now, search banners is only available on search, and this is quite self-explanatory. A couple of years before, this banner was only on CPM model, and it was the only solution on SERP on this purchasing model. Nowadays, it's only CPC. And I'll show you some examples on how brands can protect their the SERP against rivals here. And finally, smart banners can appear as text or text and image, or a banner itself, either on SERP or Yandex Advertising Network. So these are the ad formats that may be shown on search or Yan. Now, Yandex also provides solutions that will suit practically all marketers' marketer needs, and all funnels can be acquired. So first, the upper funnel can be targeted with display ads that is structured by interest, demographics, or CRM data. Now, the middle funnel can be reached to the final customer with contextual and text ads that responds user queries, or with smart banners for those who have visited the website and viewed certain products and pages. Or finally, it can be reached at the very low funnel with retargeting activities based on the in-app actions or website actions or previously converters. So different funnels can be utilized, and Yandex has products for each of these funnels. So once we're very close to the beginning of the campaign, and once marketer thinks of the launching the campaign on Yandex, the first question is how much budget they would need for the audience. And to start off, I would like to run you through the budget forecast tool. This is the tool that Yandex provides for free, and basically it has different options to simplify the marketer life. It's can be customized, and you can choose the region of where you'd like to show your ads, as granular as the city level. Then you can choose the different currency or that you can target to output you the forecast, either rubles, euro, USD, or Swiss francs, and a few other currencies across Commonwealth of Independent States. Then you can choose whatever period you'd like to forecast. It's either week or month or quarter or year, and either all devices or mobile only. Finally, you upload the list of keywords you'd like to target and the list of shared negatives to be added to each keyword, and then click button calculate, and this will give you the output of the amount of how much you would need to invest to acquire the certain traffic. So this screenshot provides you the overview of the results page of the calculation of the forecast. The first column is the query forecast, as the amount of search queries that Yandex estimates there will be for the selected period, either for the week or for month or for quarter, for each keyword that you've added. I've just quickly added here a few of them so that you can easily navigate. So the second column about traffic volume, it just represents different positions of bidding. So Yandex has switched from the position bidding to traffic volume bidding, and I'll talk about this in a few seconds. Now, finally, the CPC is the one that you're going to be charged if the customer clicked on the certain location on your ad. So this will also be dedicated to per every traffic volume selected. There's one limitation here. This forecast tool is only available for text campaign type and only on search. So if you want to forecast anything on Yandex Advertising Network or anything regarding display, please contact your Yandex account manager and they will help you through this. Now, as we mentioned traffic volumes, and this bit is very unique to Yandex, it's not something common nowadays. So let's talk through the traffic volumes and what it is. So since a few years ago, Yandex switched from position targeting to traffic volume targeting. This was made to actually meet the clarity of bidding model, but still these traffic volumes can be treated as position targeting for ease of understanding. Now in the interface, in the web interface of your campaign and the keywords, you would see different traffic volumes, and it represents different volumes of what traffic will come through these positions of where you're going to bid. This also will bring you, the interface will bring you a view on the bid threshold of how much you need to bid to acquire the certain amount of traffic, and the CPC that you will be charged. This is an estimate, of course, as the auction changes with every click and with every search that someone is doing. But nevertheless, this gives you an opportunity to analyze. Once you set the maximum bid that you would like to use, you would finally get in the very last column, in the very final column, the purchased traffic volume. This will be the percentage of the maximum volume that you will have if you bid on this keyword. Sometimes it might be more than 100, which means that for certain keywords in certain industries, in general, there is much more traffic coming through the top positions compared to the non-top. And that's why Yandex provides you here a view that some positions are very, very nice. So it will be 108%, let's say, of traffic. Now, why and where this change happened? So it happened a few years ago when Yandex switched from the general second price auction model of calculating CPC to VCG auction. This auction model is based on the traffic volumes by positions. So starting from the very top position where where advertiser will have 100% of traffic. Let's say someone is bidding at the very top bid at 10 rubles, then the second advertiser bids at 7. This means that the difference between the first position and the following position will be, according to the Yandex estimates, the difference will be around 15% of traffic volumes of clicks. And this means that the very top advertiser who bid maximum will gather 15% of clicks at and have to pay for this more than the bid of the second advertiser. And now following, the next advertiser will gather 10% more traffic compared to the following advertiser, and would have to pay at this bid at this CPC. And furthermore, so if we are looking at the formula to calculate CPC, this is quite uneasy to understand, but still I would like to explain it to you. So in the CPC's formulas, the different parts are included. It's either CTR coefficients, the historical CTR of copies of all advertisers that are currently bidding for these positions and are currently eligible. It's from 1 to the 5th, as on a very top above search. There are only 4 positions on Yandex search for paid search ads. Now there is also coefficients x1, x2, x3, and x4, which stands for the traffic volume amounts. It will be 100%, 85%, 70 or less. And finally, there are bids of advertisers. So the following formulas may be used to calculate the CPCs if you all know the CPCs of your competitors. Obviously, this is an ideal world, and in real time, you wouldn't know this. The next thing about GSP auction and where it comes from. Basically, this auction was for more than 20 years active on search, but this is now only on Yandex advertising network and on the second and third pages of paid search engine result page of Yandex. So this auction still works, but not on the first page. This I think is quite commonly used across from Western engines world, Google and Bing, so that the advertiser will bid the the pay will the CPC will be slightly higher than the bid of the following advertiser, and this will give you a view on how auctions did on Yandex, either on search main page or on ad networks. In general, so the budget forecast, as a recap, is the tool that provides you a visibility on how much budget you need to invest in the text campaign on search. And I would again emphasize that this is only for search and only keyword targeting. And you would need to assess it differently for different regions, as Russia is very wide in terms of locations, in terms of population in the different cities. So please think several times to calculate it differently within different regions. You'd also have to understand that the number of competitors bidding on the same position may be very high, so a number of ingredients may be used to calculate CPC and the bid. The quality coefficients of ad copies, the CTRs, the historical CTRs, and the landing page experience also affect this bid thing. Finally, the budget forecast calculates the average indicator, and you'd have to know that once a few weeks gone through, you would have to adjust your CPCs. And you probably would like to understand more on how to play around with budget forecast based on your historical actual data. Okay. Now let's go to the placement types of search and Yandex network. I'll start with covering on where search ads can be shown. It can either be shown on the Yandex SERP or at search partners result pages. It's, for example, Rambler or Mail.ru, the main two search partners of Yandex. The Yandex ad network placements are limited to search and non-search partner sites. They can also be shown at mobile apps or smart TVs or in video. To tell you more about SERP layout and how it differs from the Google one, let's quickly view and have a look on the SERP of Yandex. It contains the same, it has the same organic block, and on top of this block, these paid search ads, up to 4 search ads may appear on the top of the SERP page, and there are also paid search ads below search results. On the right-hand side, there are Yandex Market ads, and this is a price comparison website, as I said, where marketers can advertise their products with feeds. And there is also a unique product of Yandex, which is called Search Banner. Yandex advertising network, in contrast, has multiple placements to show the ads. And to start with Yandex Advertising Network, I would like to note that it's quite wide and it covers a lot of websites across Russia. Now, if we look at the total audience of Yandex.Direct, we would have to face the fact that Yandex ad network intersects with at least 70, with a part of the audience who is searching online, and the intersection is shown here as the orange one. And moreover, you can see that it was quite stable over the past 5 years, the intersection between the two services, the search only and the Yandex Advertising Network. However, the network itself covers a lot of people who do not search on Yandex. So, which means that if you'd like to reach these customers, you'd still would like to go with Yandex to cover them via Yandex Advertising Network. And to note here the 74% of Yandex Advertising Network audience is very exclusive and cannot be found anywhere else. It's also worth to note that every third, so 1/3 of all Yandex conversions come from Yandex Advertising Network. This means that the conversions that may happen outside of search are very valuable and very interesting for advertisers to nurture. So please think of this as a second point for your marketing activities once you analyze whether or not to go with non-search activity. To go deeper into Yandex Advertising Network and what it contains of, I would like to emphasize that Yandex Advertising Network has Yandex unique services and owned services like Kinopoisk, Afisha, music, or weather, and other things. So these services may be targeted with ads only via Yandex Ad Network, and nowhere else you can find these placements. The partner websites such as RBC or Lento or Avita, the quite common websites in Russia are also available to target via Yandex Ad Network. And also there is a part of that sits separately, which are partner ad exchanges like Smarto or Mopub. Again, to simplify, Yandex has very big amount of inventory, which is part of Yandex Advertising Network, and it's Yandex owned services or software things like browser or real estate website or wallet. So these all things can be covered only via Yandex Ad Network campaigns. For those websites that are parts of Yandex Ad Network but not owned by Yandex, Yandex treats them very seriously and estimates the quality of each partner individually. So these means that some of these websites have exclusive partnership with Yandex and no other traffic broker can include their ads within these partners. In terms of types of on how you can target your customer on Yandex Ad Network, here you can see the two things. It's either content-based targeting. So basically, if someone is looking at the article on the news feed that is talking about hotels, and there are some keywords within this article about the location and the hotel thing. If you have your campaign set up as a keyword targeting, this will match the content of the article, and this is one of the main thing of how you're going to target this audience. It's a content targeting. The next thing is a search, and it's mostly for behavioral targeting. So once people searched in the past months, actually in the past 28 days, for a certain product or service, Yandex will also analyze their behavior in the past 28 days and will potentially show your ad copy to them regardless of the content of the article. Now, if we are thinking of different display settings and impression strategies in ad network, we should think of different strategies on how to approach. And Yandex provides here 4 different approaches. You either set your campaigns with keywords and you target either content of the article or behavioral targeting, as I explained before, or you would target it with Yandex Metrica and segment, and it will be retargeting, or with Yandex Audience, where you can upload some first-party data like your CRM data. I will talk about this a bit later. Or finally, you can find out some users that are matched by Yandex Crypto. This is a service that will match based on the historical behavior of a user online. It'll be unpersonalized IDs, and this will be available for you to match on the segments of audience for Yandex Ad Network. Now, if we are thinking of the first option and how to approach the keyword-based campaign on Yandex Ad Network, you should be thinking of the high and medium frequency keywords, not very long and short tail. It also advised to include some sales-related keywords like price and cost, and keywords with some competitor names and brands can also be included. And make sure you use search terms without any operators or negative keywords. I'll talk through later about what kind of operators there are in Yandex. And make sure you understand that there's also can be a behavioral pattern and targeting, and some ads may be shown to someone who looked for an article unrelated to your keyword, but still this will be targeted with your ad. Now, going to the ad formats in Yandex Advertising Network. There are 4 formats overall. It's either text or text and image or text and video extension or something that may be adapted for mobile devices. Now, starting with the text and image, there are a few requirements here that I wanted to simplify. Apologies. So the image is illustrated to the ads offer somewhere nearby. It may be very small or wide, so make sure you upload the image with the highest quality so that the Yandex can think of either cropping this or resizing this to the format of the partner in a network. And also you can include the logo of your brand and some text on the image. Aside of this, there's image ads, and it's a very interesting visual format that can be also acquired via CPC model. The creatives may be prepared either in internal ad builder, or you can upload yourself the creatives online to the internal library. It's quite easy to manage as a separate campaign in Yandex.Direct, and the most popular formats of the images are listed here. There are many more formats to target, but some of them are very unique to some of our partner websites. So I have just listed here the most popular formats. The next type of campaign will be same text ad, but with the video extension. This is an interesting thing that Yandex implemented a few years ago. So you can extend your text ad on Yandex Advertising Network with video. It's either can be picked from the internal library, or it can be structured with your own video on the background. It should be very short clips of 10 to 15 seconds, and there'll be different buttons here to either proceed, and you can customize actually the button on this image. The impressions will be shown in ad networks, either in page or in stream within the video, and it's obviously better performs with your own video and with customized, but for the quickly start and cold start, you can use the video from the library. And to make sure you note it down, it's a CPC model product. Now, to make sure I will finalize the Yandex ad network possibilities, I will cover also the video network. This contains of the size that allows video on them to be shown. And here I listed a few of them, so for your reference, from online TV and video on search as a separate type on search result page, and or some unique Yandex owned services. Ultimately, the Kinopoisk is also so-called Russian IMDb, so it also a very interesting placement to target video ads. Okay, so the next block is keywords and match types. And moving on here, I will talk through also the word start tool that will simplify the life of marketers about creating the list of keywords. So for everyone to know, so Yandex has a default match type that is very close to Google Ads broad match modified. And regardless of the form of the word in Russian language or in Russian language, Yandex.Direct will treat these forms equally. So there is a possibility to fix the word form, and we'll talk about this later about the operators. But generally speaking, Yandex treats these web forms equally, with including singular and plural forms. So there are some special operators that can be used to filter down and to narrow your matching. It's either exclamation mark, which fixes the word form, or it's a plus sign that fixes the stop words like and, for, on, etc. Or there are quotation marks. This will fix the number of words in the search query of a user, and ads will be only triggered if the search query contains no more keywords than it is listed in your keyword list. And the square brackets. So it fixed the number of words. So instead of apologies, I think I've the quotation marks fix the number of words within the keyword, and the square brackets and it fixed the word order while taking into account all word forms and stop words. Negatives can be also applied to different levels, so from keyword level to ad group and campaign level. There is also a shared negative library that can be used, and you can add to this library as many keywords as you like, and this will be also shared across different campaigns up to your preferences. So you can apply this and link this shared negative list to the selected campaigns. In terms of keywords overlap, so there's one interesting thing. So negative keywords will be automatically added at the group level if you are running campaign without any negatives. How they will be applied is like this. So if you have a few keywords like car and cars 2020, let's say, so the 2020 will be a negative addition to the keyword car, and the other parts like car year, the word year will be also added as negative to the word car. This operation is completely automated, and also Yandex Commander, the offline tool, the offline editor tool, can also be used to correct overlap between ad groups and campaigns. We'll talk about this feature later during the day. Match types. So as I said, the default match type on Yandex is very close to Google's broad match modified. So if we're gonna go with the first keyword, let's say leather sofa, and if you're running the ad campaign without any operators with this keyword, it will not the word order will not be fixed. The extra words in the search query are also allowed, and you will bid on some synonyms and typos and transliterations for these keywords, so you don't need to worry about this. And all plural forms for every word is also included. So default match type makes your life easy to target the different variations of the word forms of Russian language. And ad will appear for something like leather sofa, green sofas and leather sofa bed, etc. But it will not appear for something very wide, like leather furniture. It will not be treated like a synonym for the sofa word. Now the quotation marks operator, like I said before, it will limit these keywords only within the search term. So you can see here the ad will appear only for the sofa and its variations in terms of the order or a plural or the form. And the ad copy will not appear for something that includes additional keywords here, like green sofa or sofa in leather. You see here that the pronoun in included also here will not trigger the ad copy. Finally, the square brackets operator, the leather sofa, makes the word form fixed, and you will not be shown if someone is typing sofa leather. And it also can be used in interesting ways. Usually it's used for flights brands to fix the word order, like Berlin-Moscow flights, or like Moscow-St. Petersburg train, something like this, where the ad copy should be customized based on their origin and the destination. So this cheat sheet will help you to understand the two main things that is useful to note for when you're targeting with keywords-based campaign. And now, the next thing I want to discuss is WordStat. So the WordStat is the tool that will help you generate the list of keywords and to assess whether you have to add any inlaid keywords, like additional keywords, long tail keywords. Here's an interface of the WordStat, how it looks like. I'll provide you some links in the end of the deck about how to find the WordStat, but you can basically find it out on the internet, Yandex WordStat. So the interface is quite clear. So you can specify the region where you'd like to assess the number of impressions that historically was for the past 28 days. Now it will also give you a list of inlaid queries, the long tail keywords, the long tail search queries that were searched by someone in the selected region the past month. And it will also give you some kind of ideas for similar keywords, for similar search queries, so you can also think of adding them to your marketing campaign. This was the first tab, the by keyword tab. Next tab, by region, will give you an overview of how frequent the certain keyword was region to region. So here with the regional popularity index, you will have more than 100% if it's more than frequent compared to the average across the select region, or the less than 100% if there's been a decreased interest to this term and topic in the region. The last part of the WordStat is the query history, and this will give you an overview of how this keyword was searched over the past 24 months. So if you go by grouping by month, it will give you the last 24 months search query history. And this is a very unique thing that we will assess and give a precise number, an absolute number of searches by month. And you can specify the user device type here. It's either desktop, mobile, or tablets There's also a button here to switch between month and week. So week will give you only the past 12 months data, but still it's quite useful to analyze and to understand. As a recap about WordStat, so there's no negatives or special operators that you can use in the historical tab to review the historical dynamics. The weekly historical data is limited to the past 12 months. Unfortunately, it's not downloadable and can only be copy-pasted from the interface to Excel sheet or Google Sheet. And no API, unfortunately, integration with here, but it can be the multiple keywords can be questioned, can be assessed the data by accessing your Yandex account manager, and they can support you from here. Overall, I should say that the WordStat tool is a very powerful tool to the marketers to not only plan the marketing campaign ahead, but to assess the historical movement of different patterns. If you weren't sure about whether the keyword would need to be added to the campaign, you just check the past historical data and they will give you an idea of how it behaved. Now, the next bit of my presentation is the targeting types. So we'll cover different targeting types that are used on Yandex, from social demographics to user interest, audiences, and different types of audiences that we can upload or use, and of course retargeting. So we'll start with the search and Yandex Advertising Network. Both these placements and both these types can be targeted with the demographics, and you can either use and adjust bits on search to adjust bits for some gender and age, or income or marital status or job. For Yandex Advertising Network, you can specify this audience uniquely and reach them with a custom and tailored ad without any keywords. However, on search, you would still need to have that keywords. Now, you can also use interest segments of audience with short-term interest or long-term interests. These interests are based on the on Yandex Metrica data, sorry, Yandex Crypta data. This is a tool that collects anonymously the behavior of every user that visits the website with Yandex Metrica or types something in Yandex search, and it will give marketers an option to target these people or lookalike people with short-term or long-term interest, or adjust bits for them on search. In terms of custom audience, this can also be used via Yandex Audiences. You can upload your first-party data there and target those who have done some actions on the website or have purchased offline but never been online. So we can think of either phone numbers or emails. These are allowed in Russia. And offline geo zones, and I'll talk a bit about this, how the polygons location targeting works on Yandex. Or you can also do the lookalike based on the selected audience. You can also use a website visitor segment of audience, someone who have seen your website, a part of a website, or converted, or left basket abandoned. So you can target them separately on Yandex Advertising Network, or you can use this segment to adjust your bits on search. Obviously, keywords is the most simple thing to note. You can target your audience by keywords on search and on Yandex Advertising Network. And finally, app categories. So this will basically bring your idea on how the audience, what apps the audience installed and clicked on Yandex paid ads, and what type of app they've installed, and whether you like to nurture this audience and to acquire and to use. You can use this type of targeting, the app categories. The retargeting thing can be approached either via Yandex Metrica goals, and this is the very universal tool for bringing back audience after contacting either your online or offline activities. You can upload your offline customer data, like offline actions, like you've visited the offline store, to Yandex Metrica, and then utilize these signals in Yandex.Direct. You can also think of CRM data that you collect via your subscription model, or via some newsletters or some form fills, and you can use some in-app actions from AppMetrica on, or actually some other app tracking tools. Finally, you can use the pixel of display ad. So if you're running any display campaigns on Yandex, you can install pixel there to a small pixel that will analyze the impressions of the display image or video, and you can then acquire this audience and apply to them the bid adjustments, or target this audience separately on Yandex Advertising Network. Everything that I've talked before is merged and can be synced and can be used to segment your audience in Yandex Audiences. This service is something for create and analyze audiences. It can work with different types of data like emails, phone numbers, CRM data, mobile device IDs, geodata, and other things. And it can be used in either Yandex.Direct ads or display ads. You can also build some lookalike segments based on your data that you've uploaded, or based on something that you've connected via DSPs. And you can work with external providers like DMPs. Finally, you can supply your marketing campaigns with offline data, or some data from your first-party CRM database via API. This is a very great and nice approach on how to limit the number of times you actually looking at the uploading data and refreshing this, and it will be in an automated way connected to the Yandex audiences and used further on. This is just a cheat sheet on where and what kind of data can be used. Just 4 simple steps to create the audience in Yandex Audiences. You use your contact lists, you upload it to Yandex Audience manually or via API. You create personalized ad copy for the selected segment, and you set targeting and bid adjustment. Some of the use cases for Yandex Audiences is either to correct bids, to adjust some bids in Yandex.Direct for both search and Yandex Advertising Network, or you can target specific audience on Yandex Advertising Network, or you can use these segments to run some display campaigns and display ads. Here on the slide is very much different approaches you would go with to utilize Yandex Audiences. It will be either someone completed the purchases, or you would like to do the upsales, or cross-app promotion, or would like to bring someone back to their app when you see that they hadn't done any actions in app for some period of time. Cool. So in terms of main scenarios and now I'd like to go through some scenarios on how you approach your marketing campaign with the Yandex audiences, how you use cases. For audiences, it's either to bring your customer back or upsell or have a lookalike segment and target these, or attract new customer or exclude some segment of audience. Now let's go step by step on each of them. In terms of bringing back your customer, you are creating the segment of Yandex audiences who have previously visited the website but been inactive for the certain period of time. You create this segment in Yandex audiences and make special offer to target and to approach them next time they see the ad in either Yandex network or they looked for this in search. And basically that's one of the ways how you bring your customers back. In terms of how you would like to upsell and how you would want to upsell, there's you can create also a segment of those who have converted on the website and either in-app or on the website itself, and have a separate ad copy for those converters, or and target them specifically on Yan, or increase some bits for their generic activity and their generic searches on search. This is a really great and nice idea on how to do the upselling. The lookalike thing, the finding similar audiences, is also available in Yandex audiences. You either upload your segment on Yandex audiences and create the lookalike based on it, and making special offer for them and target them separately with the ad copy. Or you finally attract your new customer by creating a dual-based segment in Yandex audiences. I have a separate slide here in my presentation about the hyper-local targeting, so I'll talk a bit further about this. You can specify a special offer for someone who lives nearby the or entered some certain locations that you can circle on the map, and I'll talk through about this in details in a bit. Finally, you can exclude your audience from targeting. You can either adjust bits with the minus 100% on search for this segment, or you can create a segment and target this audience specifically on Yan. As a recap of what source of data you can use within Yandex audiences, it can either be first-party data, offline or online data. It can be your CRM data, it can be mobile device IDs, or Yandex Metrica segments, or app Metrica details. It can also be a second-party data, like a hyperlocal data from different source providers, or it can be a lookalike audience that is done based on the first-party data. And finally, there's third-party data. They can be also used. It's a DMP that can be acquired directly or within Yandex audiences. We're not going to cover this today during the day, but so if you're very interested, please speak to your Yandex account manager. Once you upload your CRM or connected any source of data within Yandex audience, Yandex audience will give you a view on how similar the users are within that the segment that you've uploaded. It can bring you different things like age and gender difference, comparing them based on the internal data that Yandex has using Yandex Crypto. It can also give you an estimate of the men versus women split, and it can also bring you some information about their historical visits, either they're from the big cities or from small ones. and their devices they used to approach Yandex services in the past. And finally, there will be interests and categories. Yandex will show you the affinity metrics that will give you an idea on how interested your audience is in certain segments of interests or categories, whether they are looking forward to travel abroad or whether they are automakers or pet holders, etc., so that you can adjust your ad copy based on this knowledge. Now, as I said, with Yandex Audience and hyperlocal targeting is also available. This is very unique to Yandex, where you can specify as a polygon or a circle an area where you'd like to target your people around square, around the certain business center or like university. This will be only used when you circle or you draw the area of where more than 1,000 users are usually present. And it can also be used for someone who is currently located there, or you can specify that these workers that are going forth and back to this location or live there, this will be provided by Yandex. So Yandex will analyze the pattern of the behavior of people within these segments. So this section is going to be dedicated to bidding strategies and an introduction to Yandex Metrica. We will actually start with intro of to Yandex Metrica because it's very interconnected with all the bidding strategies that are available on Yandex. So what is Metrica and how it looks like? Metrica is a web analytics platform. Is very similar to actually what Google Analytics is, but have their own unique features. It's the third most popular analytics service worldwide, according to w3text.com, and it is installed on more than 8 million websites globally. When we talk about the different things that you can analyze with Metrica and how you can support your marketing activities on Yandex, first of all, it's definitely the traffic sources and the different channels that visiting your website. So traffic source tracking, the site usage analysis, the visitor device data and the visitor location data, all the things about the device, like operation system, mobile screen, resolution, etc. And of course, you can also analyze e-com stats if additional tag is installed, like a Metrica e-com edition. The few interesting things about Metrica is that it's completely free. So regardless of the amounts of data that is coming through Metrica, through the website to Metrica, the payment for accessing the data is completely zero. So there's never going to be any payment for the extra storage space. And Metrica collects all the statistics there. Another very important pros of having Yandex Metrica installed is that there is no sampling. So thing is, if on the web interface you see any sampling for the date range you've selected, you can always schedule this export to your email or to download this export data. And regardless of how many times you download, you and your colleagues, this will be unlimited for you. So there is no any limit on tokens to be used to download the unsampled data. If we are talking about the data when you need it, this Metrica has API access, also without any limits. So you can pull the data from Metrica at any point at as many times, at as many frequencies as you want. So you can connect this via API with your storage data. These days, the world is quite intense, and the world is quite curious and cautious about the data security. So I believe that I should cover a few slides here to talk through the data security and that are already installed and in place in Metrica, and what else should be done from the client side in order to make sure any compliance with all the things. So first of all, there is a ISO certification that Yandex is compliant and certified with the standard, and this is a must, and Yandex Metrica was certified here a long time ago, and it continuously certified moving forward. The data that is collected via the tag is depersonalized, so no personal data is stored at Metrica servers elsewhere. So no phone numbers, no emails, no names or surnames. This is a different thing enabled by default, and there's no any sensitive data that can be shared. There's also very transparent cookie policy and local files policy that is installed when the website has the Metrica tag, and the policy is available globally and publicly. Moreover, there is an opt-out add-on that can be installed to all the browsers, all the famous browsers, including Yandex browser, which is very popular in Russia. And this add-on is quite simple and can literally be installed for these browsers for users to make sure they're not sharing the data with Metrica if they not will. Furthermore, there is a very transparent data processing agreement. So if your company is registered in European zone and you have to be GDPR compliant, there's a thorough explanation about GDPR and how Metrica is GDPR compliant. And here on the slide in the link, CRDB data processing agreement and policy is the document you will find once we share the materials with you after this training, to make sure that you have a note of this. So in order for Metrica and the company that installs Metrica on its website to be GDPR compliant and accept DPA agreement, the only thing they need to do is to click this once the Metrica tag is created, so that the user who's creating the Metrica tag is accepting the Metrica data processing agreement. And also there's a button here not to store full IP addresses of site users. So in order to mask the IP addresses, although it's not restricted in some countries to store the IP addresses, this can be enabled here, it can be ticked, and IP masking can be provided so that the companies who installed the Metrica tag is GDPR compliant. That said, Metrica is fully transparent in terms of storing and processing the data, and also masking any sensitive or removing any sensitive data. Now let's talk about the benefits of having Metrica on the site from the user experience perspective and from the website analytics perspective. First, I would like to let you know about the click map and the heat map. So it's a dynamic map that basically shows you how frequent users are clicking on a certain parts of the page, certain images or certain blocks that are clickable or not clickable. And if these are not clickable, this means that the website designers and developers can update the code so that they can implement some special buttons there, or scroll down or something else. So it provides a usability hints for the team that works for on-site optimization. This is operated via session replay tool. So this is an option. This is an option that can be enabled in Metrica. By default, it's disabled. So this session replay is recording the path of the user on the website. It actually records only the buttons and the mouse movements. So and it then layers to the current version of the website. So it doesn't. It's really not a heavy thing to store this data. It's just the location of the mouse and its movement through the screen. And it also gives an opportunity for marketers and to analyze the customer behavior on the website, whether there is anything important that is missing and that the customers are struggling to find or to fill. Sometimes the form fills don't work properly from some locations or from some devices. So this can also be analyzed. And ultimately it brings to the increase of conversion rate on the website. So this is really a great tool to utilize and a great option to enable. Now speaking about funnels and how users going through your website from the upper funnel to lower funnel, from actually reaching the website, having something added to basket, and then leaving the basket unpaid, or something else, doing some other actions. These steps can be analyzed, and for this, Yandex has a funnel view. So the conversion report to view the conversion funnel and compare the CVRs from one step to another. This is a really nice option to have for free and without any deep dive into the code, the coding. This is very important for marketers, for digital marketers to utilize, as all the goals in Yandex.Direct, on the additional goals that can be set up, should be based on the website operations. Now, if we are thinking about linking Yandex.Direct and the Yandex Metrica, let's think of what the things are within Yandex.Direct that uses Metrica heavily. First of all, there's a retargeting, and in order for us to utilize the retargeting based on the website actions or in-app actions, and that the app Metrica will do the in-app actions analytics, we should enable Metrica on the website and then link it to the Yandex.Direct account, and this will bring us to the opportunity to oversee these retargeting opportunities and to utilize these customer signals. Now, Smart Banners is one of the products that is relying heavily on Yandex Metrica. So you will not be able to run any Smart Banners without Metrica installed. And also Metrica with Ecom is actually very much needed for this type of campaign, but we'll talk about this a bit later. And finally, lookalike audience. If you want to do any lookalikes, you can do it without Metrica by actually just uploading the data into Yandex Audiences. But if you want to do it based on the website conversions, like page views or certain group of people who have visited the certain location on your website or filled the form, you should do it, and you will only be able to do it based on linking Metrica to your audiences and then doing some lookalike in there. So as I said, Metrica is essential for retargeting, and in order to set this up in as a retargeting audience, you would have to link it to Yandex.Direct, and there pick the audience goal or the Metrica segment to then have a rule of setting up a retargeting list that following action can be used to retarget, to launch campaign, or to retarget this via bid adjustments. Make sure you note down that on search, the retargeting can only be done with bid adjustments. So regardless of your keyword space, the retargeting should be done only as a bid adjustments on search. There is no option to reach the certain audience on search without any keyword triggers, unfortunately, so far. In terms of how Metrica can be used and to have the most power of using Metrica within Yandex.Direct, the few things you have to know from left to right. So it's first of all the offline data that you can upload to the Metrica, like offline stores visits or some phone calls that's been done in the past, and then Metrica will match it up with their internal data, and you can then use this segment as a CRM audience for further retargeting, or you can retain the interest of your audience and pull them back if they were silent and inactive for some period of time. And moreover, you can capture conversions from those who have not filled the basket abandoners, or from those who have not been active also for some period of time. Or finally, you can boost your marketing performance for those who have just started to fill the basket but then left it. So next day you can reach out to them with some interesting insights or some additional info via another ad, or look for some interesting lookalike audience. For lookalike, the connection between Metrica and Yandex audience is essential, and basically once the connection is done and you can select the segment of audience in Metrica, of Metrica audience, or someone who completed a certain goal in Metrica, and then based on this segment you can specify a lookalike on Yandex audiences. So that is the essentials of using Metrica within Yandex.Direct, and I hope this clarifies your points, your questions that you may have. I can see that there is one question from Luigi. So as we have some time, I will voice it over now. Do you have suggestions on how to listen Yandex Metrica script and have better load speed performance? Okay, it's a good question. So yes, there's been times where the Metrica tag was quite slow on the website, but these times have passed, and basically the asynchronous code does not block any pages and does not affect any page loading speed. So you have to enable this option in the setting of Metrica and then update the tag on all the website pages. And moreover, if you are using any session replay, this excluding the session replay may also be interesting to note if the page speed is increased. I mean, if it's decreased actually. So try to disable the session replay in order to increase the speed of site loading. Cool. Now let's talk about how to optimize your marketing budget. And As you may know, and we will cover this during today's presentation, there are two types of strategies on Yandex, either automated strategies or some manual strategies. So within automated strategies, the only way for you to optimize is to utilize the signals from Metrica. And also you can adjust your bits based on the certain goals completions or certain audiences insights. So these two things, utilizing strategies or bid adjustments, are the two for to think of if you are thinking of optimizing your marketing budget. In order to run some automated strategies, you are required to have Metrica and have Metrica connected to Yandex.Direct interface. And also, as I said, if you want to do any bid adjustments, you need the Yandex Metrica here as well. Just to give you an overview how the bid adjustment is setting up. So you are selecting any user characteristics such as age, gender, or on-site behavior. So age and gender obviously is not a part of a Metrica thing, but the website behavior and goals that's been completed by a certain person or a certain audience is something that you can enable, and you can either decrease or increase your bids here, or you can also exclude some audiences to reduce the budget amounts that's spent ineffectively if it's needed. Okay. Next step of our approach is bidding and bidding strategies. So within Yandex, you have two types of bidding. First is manual bidding with manual optimization, and the second is automated bidding. Let's talk about manual bid adjustment. First, just to give you an overview. So manual bid setting and monitoring. So you would know that the clicks, the CPCs and the bids are updating in the interface once in 15 minutes. And you can check the latest time and timestamp of the update in the very bottom of the keyword page in the Yandex interface. There's also a daily limits available for you not to overspend if you are willing to fill the budget cap. And the minimum average daily budgets are as listed here. So it's either 300 rubles or $10 or 10 euros. There's also some similar minimum daily budgets in other currencies. And if you need this, please give a shout in the question. We'll provide you some answer. So this is a manual bidding strategy. It requires a lot of attention from the analyst time if it's done manually with analyst hands, or it requires a bid management tool that will run with their internal strategies, and it will optimize the bids accordingly to the goals and to the strategies that inside that bid management tool. However, Yandex has its own bidding internal strategies, and why it's important to understand its pros and cons. The case because Yandex is developing its product very heavily and relying on machine learning algorithms, and in this sense, Yandex is the first party who is having the full view of all the millions of signals that is floating into the engine whilst the user is typing the search. It may be the historical searches, it may be the sex and gender, the time of the day and the week, the seasonality, the device type, and even weather conditions that is currently outside in the user's location. So there's been some great case studies on the weather usage recently on Yandex, and I think if you need more, please give a shout and we'll give you some feedback here. But ultimately, going with automated bidding, first of all, saves analysts time to do something interesting, like analyze campaigns performance, or run some A/B testing, or create some efficient ads and test new hypotheses, and ultimately improve website experience. Again, why automated bidding? Yandex has tested tons of times the automated bidding and different strategies. So with automated bidding, the CPA is at least 50% less in average from the different angles of view. Another thing is the conversions amounts. And here we had a view from Yandex that the on average 24% more conversions is driven from the automated bidding CPA strategy, automated strategy. So you would know that more conversions is coming from the automated and with less cost per action. This gives a chance for you to test this, at least test this automated bidding from different angles. And we'll now go through different options on what you have for automated bidding. First, there are 3 different things you can think of to optimize your campaigns, either on clicks, drive maximum clicks, or to drive maximum conversions, or to drive and maximize your return on investment, or just keep the return of investment stable, but with maximizing cost. These all 3 things have now additional constraints that you can layer up on. So for clicks optimization, you can layer up CPC, the max CPC, or the weekly budget, or the amount of clicks you would want to generate on the website. For certain industries, the amount of clicks are essential, and the amount of traffic that is coming to. For conversion optimizations, you may want to limit this to CPA or CPC. And for ROI strategy, you can also additionally limit your campaign to have a ROI with CPC or weekly budget. So how does it all work? First of all, while potential customer is typing and addressing, the machine learning and algorithm assesses users' behavior in the past and whether this user may convert for the specific advertiser, and it gives also addresses campaign settings and all the different things, and then decides whether to bid or not for other auctions for other advertisers. If bidding, then basically this is how it works. Then the machine learning algorithm bid. The more conversions you have, the better for the machine learning algorithm to optimize. So the first strategy we will look at is the average CPA, average cost per action. Here on the right-hand side, you see a quick snapshot of the settings from the user from the Yandex.Direct interface. This strategy requires goals set in Yandex Metrica. It requires a certain average CPA to be set, and also it may have additional constraints like maximum CPC or weekly budget. Please note that if you do not want to falsely interpret the results of this strategy, then skip the additional settings here. So do not add any max CPC, or do not add any do not add any max CPC, so because this may contradict with the strategy when it just starts its path to optimization. So In order to run average CPA, try not to use CPC constraint. Another strategy that we're covering today is optimize ROI. And it also gives an opportunity for you to limit the max CPC and to maximize impressions. Sorry, maximize the weekly budget. If you're running this for the first time, give a chance for this activity, for this campaign, and for the strategy to run for at least 2 weeks. I'll shout it out again in a few slides to make sure it's noted down specifically. But generally speaking, the automated strategies works very simple. The more conversions you have, the more insights there is for the automated strategy to optimize. Now, what conversions can be done? If there is not enough final conversion, like a real conversion, like a purchase, enough to start the activity, because there will be some activities need at least 10 conversions per week, then have a wider window, give a step back to the more upper funnel of activity, have another goal, which is add to basket, and test this goal as a conversion. And if there is more than 10 conversions coming through Metrica, then it will give you some results and some insights. And the more traffic will come through this strategy, the more it will learn and analyze moving forward. So what if no conversions happens on your activity so far, but you still want to test some automated optimization? Then for this specific case, try clicks optimization with with weekly budget constraint. So here you can see that you can test it on search, the clicks optimization strategy, and limiting by weekly budget. That will spend up a certain amount of budget per week. And you can also add up the max CPC here as a constraint. Test this for at least 2 weeks, and then once the campaign gains traffic through, and it will give a shout to similar strategies, that the more conversions are coming through, you can then switch to either target CPA or target ROI. In order for you to understand which budget should be set here as an example, think of the minimum recommended budget of 1.5 of 10 target CPAs. This budget will not be overspent by Yandex.Direct. That is confirmed over the history of my experience at FowrardPMX, and also Yandex confirms this within their strategy setup. And so if you having a budget set for this activity, try to test this minimum and make sure, and you will make sure that you can rely on Yandex here. This budget will not be overspent. Generally speaking, the quality of campaign and campaign setup is essential, and you all know this. So division of your campaign into separate regions to target separate regions across Russia with different CPAs is essential for you to understand the customer paths and the customer patterns of behavior within different regions. So then dividing your activity into brand, product, and generic or some competitors' activity is also essential for you to test out. So the more granular you will structure your campaign, the better. However, make sure you fill the 10 conversions per week minimum in order to have the automated bidding running. So what can you do when you run some campaign for a certain period of time? The answer is here that you should be running your automated activity for not less than 2 weeks, and this is absolutely crucial for the campaign to learn and analyze. If anything has been changed, if you did change the CPA target, or you did change some and you stopped activity and restarted the next Monday, let's say, the strategy will restart their time frame, and again you would have to wait 2 weeks at least. The relied statistics will go through this campaign. The thing about the optimizing campaigns, so while the campaigns are running, you can still optimize these campaigns by not touching the CPA or turning on and off. You can still review the search queries from the report wizard, sorry, from the report section of Yandex.Direct, and this will give you a shout if any keywords are going unnecessary and you should be excluding some traffic from your campaign. This will be one of a step of optimizing by not ruining the time frame of the campaign, the learning time frame. As a strategy recap, I would here note down these strategies that we've just discussed. It's either optimize ROI automated strategy that requires Metrica and requires enabling this tag the Yandex Metrica number in the Yandex.Direct campaign. This also needs transmitting e-commerce data to Yandex Metrica. So to know more about e-com, please have a look at the link down here on the slide. This is quite thorough discussion, so we're not going to cover this today. And finally, additional parameters can be used to limit out the optimization of this campaign, such as weekly budget or max CPC or some cost that you are having by default. Second type of campaign we've discussed is optimized conversions, and they can either be optimized via via average CPA, or they can be optimized by weekly budget, and you can still maximize the conversions within certain period, within certain amount of money for a week. Third type of campaign we have briefly touched was optimized clicks. So the mandatory parameters for this will be weekly budget, the number of clicks that you would need, and the average CPC that you would like to keep. So every two of these three will be required for the campaign to start activity. And additional parameters you can maximize. You can set the max CPC, the weekly budget, or the attribution model of this campaign. And finally, the last thing, if you still do not have Metrica installed, but you want to test and you want to run the activity and start the activity, see some results, try the manual bidding and give it a go and see how it looks like. As a summary, automated strategies helps you to maximize the results of your campaigns and to save up some time of your activities, to do some analysis, to do some tests and checking the hypothesis, and make sure you try to test different strategy before you fix it in your hand for a certain period of time. So choose the right strategy based on the main goal of your campaign. It's either clicks or conversions or return on investments. This session is now going to be dedicated to overview of Yandex products. And we'll start with talking about the text and image ads and text ads specifically. Dynamic search ads will be number 2, then smart banners and search banners. Then we'll cover CPM campaigns very shortly. And finally, we're going to have ads for mobile apps, but not now in this session, but just at 5:30 p.m., just for our North American colleagues to be able to join. Okay, before we go ahead to the text campaigns, in order to find out the full list of campaigns eligible for you to advertise in the new interface, just hover over Add and Campaign, and I will see the full list of campaigns eligible from text and image, display campaigns, including CPM, purchasing model, and for mobile apps, smart banners, search banners, dynamic ads with DSA, and even display campaigns on the homepage via CPM payment. And there's also content promotion type of campaign that we're not covering today, but this is a very new addition by Yandex. So let's kick off with text ads. Text and image ad campaign is serving both search and Yandex ad network. So on SERP, you may find this short example on the right-hand side of ad copy with different extensions, including site links in expanded format. We'll talk about this extensions a bit later. But generally speaking, the format is very it was the first format ever developed on Yandex, and obviously it has been few iterations of changes, including an addition of second headline or some extended site links as well. But since then, a lot of constraints have been put on the limits in terms of characters of headlines, of site link headlines, and overall in text. It's a CPC model, and on Yandex Advertising Network, it can be served in addition with the image, either rectangle or square, with different buttons here, which can also be tested by Yandex. So unfortunately, there is no control over how the button will look like in the Yandex network, and it's going to be Yandex who decides and testing the different variations. Now, if we're talking about the specifics and the features of the text campaign on Yandex and its very close competitor of Google Ads, let us first think of different character limits and the differences between two engines. So on Yandex, the headlines are limited to 35 and 30 characters. So there's only 2 headlines, whereas on Google there are 3 of them. The description lines on Yandex is limited to 1 and 81 character long, whereas on Google there's only 2. Display link on Yandex is the same as path fills on Google. This display link on Yandex is just 1 20 character long, whereas on Google the 2 paths 15 characters each. The site links may be served up to 8 on search, and you may have noticed the screenshot on the previous slide that there was 8 site links on the screen. Unfortunately, there is no rotation, so every time you fix the site link array, it will be unless you change the site links manually. And there is one very unique limitation about the headlines, total limit of the headlines length. So each 4 headlines, the first 4 headlines and the second 4 headlines must be up to 66 characters long, whilst only one description line, each description line should be 60% maximum, 60 characters maximum. On Google, the character limits are quite easy to follow, and I think you all know this. Callouts also on Yandex has this extension has a limit of 66 characters for all callouts that you'd like to show with the ad, and each callout has to be 25 characters long at max. There's also a phone and location extension. On Yandex, it comes as a one location, as a one extension, which is called vCard. Stands for virtual card, virtual business card. It comes with business address and phone number or company card that can be also served from Yandex Maps. We'll cover this in a second. Quick things to note about text campaign on search. First of all, there's a limitation on prices that you can fill in the headlines or in the text. So unfortunately, there's no dynamic insertion. So the price that you paste have to be manually updated every time that the price of the product is changing on the website. And it should come with a local currency or of the country they are serving. So if you're serving for Russia, it should be coming in rubles. Or if it's coming in the United States dollars or in another currency, you have to provide the equivalent in rubles. So just in the same line, let's say the product is cost $100. In the brackets, you should specify the equivalent in rubles. The next thing is about unified match type. So default match type on Yandex is very much close to Google's BMM, as we've talked about this before. So there are special operators that can be used, and we already covered this. In terms of the landing pages, if you lead your marketing campaign to the non-Russian website, the ad should let user know about this. So you should specify in the ad copy that the website is in another language. You either specify just literally saying that the website is in English or the website is in French, or you can specify in brackets the language code like EN or FR, etc. A quick overview of how, again, the text that look like. This is a snapshot, a real-time snapshot of by tour packages to Milan. So you can see here different extensions, and let's go to these extensions one by one. So site linking extension is the clickable extension. It can be shown, it's usually shown up to 4 site links in short, or it can be also shown as an extended format. On desktop and tablet, this is shown in extended format only on the very top position, whereas on mobile, no extended site links is available. Another extension, which is called display link, is right after the domain. It's customizable, as I said before. It's 20 characters long, and it usually appears on any device that is triggering the ad copy to show. The next extension is called callouts, non-clickable extension that should come in one line, and it basically all character limits should follow 66 characters. The very last extension we touched based is vCard. This extension provides information about the phone number, about the hours of the business hours of the offline store, if it's an offline store, or if it's a support line, you can also specify the store. You can also have the closest underground station, which will be automatically picked if you select the address, if you insert this address. Usually it provides indeed 12% more visits to advertiser sites. So the click-through rate is really greatly improved if you use this extension. This how it looks like if you click on the on this blue thing, which is called, well, this is basically a leading customer from the ad, not to the advertiser's website, but to the special page. It's basically a vCard extension, and it can also have a text, an additional text here, just explaining some benefits of this specific service of this company. You will have a wider view of the phone number, of working hours, the address, and a quick map. One thing to know that on mobile, the vCard extension is limited to the phone call button, which is always active. So if someone tap on this button, they will be eligible to click, to call the service directly. So it's highly recommended to implement vCard and use it across different devices. All right, that was the text ads. Now let's move on to dynamic search ads, DSA. Dynamic ads are similar to Google one. It simplifies, these are automatically generated ad copies. It's either based on the site content or product feed, and it's very tailored to the relevant landing page and to the user's request. It's more relevant to those who would like to start the activity from scratch, not taking too much time into the keywords base, and for those businesses who do not have a Russian language speaker within the team, so that they can't really provide the core keyword base and analyze the data from the scratch in the beginning. So this is a really great product to utilize from the start. In terms of how to create this, you either upload the feed here. So as far as I know, the Google feed that is working for Google Shopping is not currently supported by Yandex, so you have to adapt the feed to match the Yandex template, or you just provide a site that should follow the certain structure, and certain limitations may also be have to be captured in order to be eligible to run dynamic ads based on the site. Then you fill out the text of the ad copy. So a big note here that the DSA on Yandex is customizable, so you can customize the text ad, which is 81 character long, whereas the dynamic title, the titles and the two titles will be dynamically inserted by the system itself. So this is a major difference compared to the Google ads in terms of the customization of DSA. The third thing, you set the targeting criteria. So either you'd like to target the feed or the whole site, or you specify the different categories on the website. Either the landing page that contains something interesting, or it's the page content contains specific words, etc. And you set the bids, and then you choose the strategy. It's either manual or automated bid strategies, and as we have covered previously. So yes, that is it about dynamic ads. The next thing we will cover is smart banners. Smart banners is a very, very interesting product that is very unique to a Russian audience. So the main features here is that this is a CPC product. It may be displayed on Yandex Advertising Network or on Yandex Search. It can also be, it should be based on the feed. and it gets updates regularly as far as feed is updated, and it's personalized due to targeting with the really great visual content here. It usually generates and automates the process very quickly, so you can really rely on the system. And there's an ad builder, an internal ad builder for creatives. One thing to note, you have to have the feed Yandex friendly to run this campaign. In terms of formats, I've already covered, and you've seen the GIF in rotation, the animated image with the different things here as a name of a product, different colors, sizes, and the prices with a customizable button. So this all is customizable, and you'd love it if you try it with your own feed. The format that this campaign is showing on Yandex Search is very similar to the standard text ads. So we just have a couple of headlines, this text with different callouts, and you can also have a vCard here with the store rating from Yandex Market. The several industries like electronics can also be eligible to be shown on the very top on the search result page. So here you can see someone has searched for Xiaomi phone, and there's a few ads that's shown here alongside Yandex Market. So these ads were generated based on the smart banners. Again, just a note, not all industries are eligible to be shown in this product gallery. Please connect with your Yandex account manager to know more of whether your industry is eligible. Now, how it behaves. So in terms of personalization, once you set the campaign and you link it to the Yandex Metrica, this campaign will not run without Yandex Metrica tag installed and working properly with e-commerce. This campaign will be running dynamically and showing the product for those who have abandoned the basket, or for those who have purchased and you'd like to retarget them with another product in another week or so. And so this is really dynamically generated content from this product. If we compare the campaign statistics compared to the other campaign types, we would notice that smart banners on search, on ad networks, they generate less, they generate clicks with lower CPC. So text and image ads on ad networks, they have 1.3 times higher CPC compared to smart banners, whereas on search, the same text and image ad has even more higher CPC. The branded keyword at the same time, from one of the case studies that this is reference, is at the same time much cheaper on the search, which is kind of understandable because it's a brand keyword and many competitors are bidding the same keyword. At the same time, cost per action, so cost per conversion or any other action that is specified in Metrica, is as follows. So smart banners is again a leader against text and search ads if not taken into consideration branded keywords. Again, just to clarify, so smart banners outperforms Yandex ad network text and image ads. And for this specific example from travel industry, the CPA was much lower. Apologies, there is no number here, but we'll make sure to edit later. So for ad spend, there's been higher ad spend and less amount of clicks generated from this type of campaign, but you see how many more conversions were generated. So among 100 conversions, the 89 was generated from smart banners, whereas only 11 were generated from text ads. This is a really great example showing that for travel industry, the smart banners are working perfectly well. In terms of where to find the navigation in the new interface and how to upload the feed, so in the very left list of tools, you will find library, and here we've got feeds where you can upload the feed and check whether it's eligible for you to run. Or instead of feed, you can set this up. Oh, sorry, yeah, it's only customizable with feed. Yeah. Same goes for creatives. So the internal creative tool, Creative Ad Builder, is designed for you to pick from different range of products, so different range of formats, and to customize it with different colors, with different buttons, call to action, with providing some necessary information here about the seller to be compliant with the Russian law, etc. So the feed management also is very simple. Once you upload few feeds, you can then choose whatever feed you'd like to run. It's either how many feeds you have at hand. In terms of next thing, once you uploaded the feed and you've done the creatives, you enter the Yandex Metrica tag. So that is also linked, and it's now digesting the conversions number. And then you select a bidding strategy and the placement, where it's going to be all sites or Yandex search only or Yandex ad network. Finally, you can create a group of smart banners and filter out any interesting groups that you would like to use with this group. You either filter interested in similar products, or you can target a specific audience who view the products on the site, or you can select both groups. Now, as I said, Yandex Metrica is essential for smart banners. That said, we do recommend you to install Metrica with ecom on your website if there is any chance for you to utilize this product to use and to test smart banners at some point, because it will be surprised of the results this campaign can bring for you. And no extra code will be needed to install it on the website if you're already using Google Analytics enhanced e-commerce. So it should be really quickly to set up. But please let your account manager know if there's any issue with setting up the Metrica. Again, just to clarify, you can target those users who have shown interest in some products, in some similar products, and you can retarget, sorry, not retarget, you can target them with your own feed, with your own products. And this is led to the Yandex owned data. As a summary, you as the first steps, you upload the feed to the Yandex.Direct. You select the bidding strategy and the products you'd like to advertise, and you can indicate which user have already viewed products on your website. And finally, Yandex will show you a banner with personalized dynamic content. That was it for smart banners. Now we are moving on to search banner. As you have already seen, this slide represents the layout of a SERP on Yandex, and here you see the search banner on Yandex SERP. This product is very unique from the engine perspective, because it's the only product with image on search. It can be set as keyword based only. It is CPC based, and it appears on the right hand side on the search results below standard placement. Impressions can be also running on the core partner sites as Rumbler and Mail.ru. And only one banner at a page is limited. So it's highly recommended to run this banner to protect the brand page, because this is not running on, it's like by default, you're not buying the space for your brand. You're competing with other brands if they want to also show some banners on the same keywords. And the auction here will be a GSP, so general second price auction. So in order to how to set this product, it's very easy. You first add the creative. It should be up to 120 kilobytes, and it can be also animation. You then enter the landing page of your website with all the tracking that you want to track, and add some keywords. So basically the setup is the same as the text campaign. It's just instead of the text add copy, you're using the image. The banner requirements are very strict, I would say. But it's easy to follow. And the banner should basically feature the object of advertisement. It must have the high quality image with contrast frame, and it should land to you to a dedicated page, to very relevant. Otherwise, it may be disapproved. And unfortunately, there's no ad builder, so indeed, you have to upload your own creative. That is it for search banner. Now let's move on to the very last part of this section, which is CPM campaigns. So CPM campaigns is something that is eligible only to be shown on Yandex ad networks. These are sizes, different sizes available, and HTML5 or even GIF banners can be shown, and it's customizable on the different pages. So we can target either Yandex sites, Yandex owned sites, or verified sites of Yandex advertising network. You can target with ad banner or with a banner on the Yandex homepage, where the brand safety takes place, and which is the most popular web page on the Russian internet. And finally, you can run some videos on site on Yandex sites or on sites of the Yandex advertising network. The targeting options that is available for you are the same as for text and other campaigns on search and Yandex Ad Network. It is not limited to any of this listed here. All of these targeting options are available for display as well. Just to recap, the impression is on Yandex Ad Network. It can be either banner or a video, and it is only via CPM product. You can target different funnels, different level of funnels from upper to lower funnels. So upper funnel can be targeted with the image that will gain some reach, and the main KPIs may be full views or brand lift or memorability of your brand name. And the lower funnel will come with some purchase intent. So for someone who have already viewed or converted some product on the website, so we can answer someone's next decisions with performance goals. So in terms of purchasing intent and how you're going to target users, here's a list of different things that you may think of. If someone was interested in the video and saw your video, or you can retarget those who have searched previously based on the Yandex metric data, or you can upload your first-party data to Yandex audiences, or you can use user categories to then analyze the user profile and the target specific user profile on Yan. And finally, you can set audiences interests as well. Then you can cross-match it with demographics like age, gender, and income, and family status, and you can select whatever desktop you'd like this to show, either desktop or mobile devices or smart TVs. Yandex is guaranteeing the highest quality of their video network because they have a very strict visibility checks and anti-fraud protection. So this means that they are filtering out any website which is not brand safety. For those who are violating this more than one times, they're blocking them from the network. In terms of display criteria, again, as I said, you can set this up even by keywords, and this will be trigger. Basically, that it will trigger. Sorry, I moved earlier than I finished my idea. So a banner or a video can appear in Yan in response to the keyword that was searched, and if the content of the website, of the article, or user interest was triggered in the display campaign. So we can run the CPM campaign just like you're running CPC image ads on Yandex Advertising Network based on keywords. Now moving on to Yandex owned Crypto solution. This is a machine learning algorithm that analyzes user behavior that compares to the different groups of people who were previously identified like as a behavioral groups. Basically it analyzes the amount of sites that the user visited, if there were any metric installed on that site. The Yandex will know the time that the user spent, and eventually you would have groups of people to target with your customized CPM campaign. Around 300 different factors are taken into consideration while grouping people into different groups. So this is really heavy and digesting here really heavy different splits. So this can be trusted. The user profile that might be also generated, and you can then target your ads for these users is a combination of characteristics. It's either demographics or family and parental status and occupation, or even behavioral, like what they've searched before and what category of products they've searched before. In terms of how you're gonna use this moving forward, so for instance, for ad copies that will run to advertise the new apartment, a new flat, this can be targeted at the audience for 25 years and older with above average incomes. So a few examples are listed here. The interesting note is about behavioral targeting. So this is something that Yandex is very famous for. So by analyzing the previous behavioral targeting and whether the sites and some content of some categories were interested, it can then predict whether the ad will be interesting for this user next time they are online on Yandex ad network or on Yandex search. Finally, I would like to note about the pixel for retargeting. So as we had a question earlier in the morning about the pixel in Yandex audiences. So this pixel is separate to Yandex Metrica. It's completely different thing, and it only works for Yandex owned banners. So if you want to track those who have those who have seen the banner or who have watched the video, you create a special pixel within Yandex audience, and then you apply it into the Yandex audience pixel setting once creating the banner. And this way you will be able to show additionally to retarget those who have seen your marketing activities before. And again, the different segments can be used in Yandex audiences to base your retargeting activities. So the segments may be either based on Yandex Metrica or Yandex audiences. And you can use these segments either for in the profile for display campaign, or just as a recap now in a text and image ad or impressions on the Yandex ad network, or for bit adjustments on search. This session will cover reporting and mass changes instruments. And to begin with, I'll proceed with reporting section first. So first of all, there are two different places where one can see the statistics from Yandex.Direct. It's either in Yandex.Direct web interface or in Yandex Metrica, if these both tools are linked, interconnected. So the Metrica integration in Yandex.Direct is happens like this. You would have to include the Metrica tag in the settings of a campaign. You should enable site monitoring. This will bring your campaigns inactive if the website is down for some reasons and Metrica has flagged it. And also you have to enable link tagging for Yandex Metrica. This will add a bit in the URL, in the final URL once the customer is redirected to the web page. These all will give you this view in the end in the report wizard. So in the web interface, the Yandex Metrica stats will be integrated here as separate columns. So on-site metrics such as depth, bounce rate, and also average time per site per page will be also visible here, and some additional metrics like conversions, conversion rate, revenue and ROI. So all these things may also be pulled if Metrica is correctly connected to your Yandex.Direct account. On top of the report wizard, which we will actually go through in a second, Yandex has a number of Yandex.Direct standard reports. So the first one is general stats. This report features the key data for the entire period of the campaign, separate for each keyword, and keywords are broken into active and deleted. There's also phrases by day tab, which can be visible here. So there are different reports over here: general statistics, phrases by day, and by region. So these three reports I'm talking now about. So the by region report helps you determine which regions was the most important in your marketing activities. By region, I mean user's region. Whereas phrases by day is the report that will show stats for each keyword broken down by day, basically. In terms of search queries, there's also a search query report available for each campaign, and it will give you an overview of what search queries triggered your ad copies. And through this, you can easily take few search queries to add them to negatives or add them to keywords straight away, just from this page. The adding keywords is very simple anyway. You just click a few of them and you can add them to the keywords to select the group where you will paste these keywords to, and specify the bid. Same goes to the negative keywords. You will specify the ad group or campaign, depending on where you want negative to be added, and save it. This will automatically add this keyword to the respective ad groups or campaigns. The site report is something very interesting as well. So it will give you an idea on where your ads shown in ad networks, and some of these ad networks can be disabled. So if you see that some website is not converting very well or the CTR is very low, you would want to disable ads on this website. There's a limit of 1,000 websites that you can exclude from your impression strategy, and some of the domains cannot be excluded. Finally, the biggest and the most interesting report is the report wizard. It's on the first page on the reporting of each campaign. It provides you a visibility on multiple metrics, and you can select the cross-section, and then you can select any metrics you'd like to review against this cross-section. There are a few interesting sections here, including average traffic volume, which I wanted to highlight specifically. So for precise average traffic volume metric, so just specify Yandex.Review as the site in the filter view. So you can specify here different groups, let's say match type, ad network type, and position. And this will give you a view of different columns also. Adding up with columns will give you an understanding on how the ads performed on the respective groupings. To compare the two different periods, there's a special button here, compare periods, and you should specify the periods B and period A just so that they not cross. And also you can specify here the attribution. So depending on where your marketing objectives are. You may want to last click from Yandex.Direct, or first click, or last significant click. These three attribution models are available here. Now, one of the examples on how you would want to filter, just below the cross-section columns, there's another field to filter the view. This can give you multiple changes. Sorry, a lot of different variations of how you can filter the stats. So, for instance, in this case, if you have if you wonder what campaigns get the most clicks from men 45 years old and older, you go to the cross section and you select groupings like campaigns, and in the metrics block you select impressions and clicks, and then you're filtering this here with condition older than 55. Actually, it should be older than 45, 54, and older. So this one also should be plugged here as if we're looking for older than 45 years, and male. And then click run, and it will give you an estimate on how it looks like. The quick overview of how the activity looks like in graph also available here. So here, if you click quickly on this button before it turns to hide graph, it actually shows. It can be showing by day or by selected period, by week, the columns you selected, and it'll give you a quick snapshot before you reviewing the data in Excel or somewhere else to visualize quickly. The final thing, you can save the reports for the future use, and next time you visit the report wizard, it will be ready for you to plug and play. That was reporting in the web interface. So I would like now to switch to mass changes, and this bit is very interesting, and the very new interface, which was introduced earlier last year. This year, almost all campaigns and all clients are moving on to the new interface. So you should familiarize yourself with the new interface. The mass changes instruments, which are available on the web, are very much focused on the quick actions. So the navigation tab or to access campaigns and groups and ads, very easy to follow. On the left hand side, you see different buttons here, which can lead you quickly to the specific tools to upload the feed or to merge some data with Yandex audiences. And also there's a search bar here where you can search something interesting or filter some campaigns from your view. This also gives you a quick view from reporting point of view, like the cost, conversions, and some other metrics. We can be also substitute your view from report wizard. So the new interface is very much indeed focused on the quick wins for the analysts to go to and to analyze different campaigns from different angles with statistics. The keywords tab has the option to find and replace. So here on the web, you can find and replace any keyword in the select view. And for instance, if you had typo, you replace with the proper name of the city and search scope within either keywords or negative keywords. And next stop from our side is Bid Wizard. This is also available on the keyword tab, where you can play around with bits. Basically, you can target a specific traffic volume and raise the bid that is enough to bid for the traffic volume additionally by a certain percent. And you can also limit the final bid to be no more than a certain amount as well. You can play around with bits separately on search and in the networks if you're running any campaign with manual bid management in the networks. But this is very rare case because obviously the automated strategies wins on network in ad networks. If you look at the mass changes overall and how many different things can be changed in the interface, the list of the things that can be changed is very much limited to the one that you see on the screen. You can either change the link to your website or part of the site links, display links, text fragments like headlines or just text or description line. I mean, you can even change images or some video extensions, and finally the callouts and the Yandex audience pixel number or impression tag. Everything in Mass Changes is available under the button Mass Changes, so this will give you a view of how to approach the changes. So that was the web interface and the reporting there and Mass Changes there. Now if we move on to Direct Commander, this section will have many more details, as Direct Commander is a very unique feature for offline editing. So here you can see that there are multiple campaigns visible for you at once. The interface is very much structured in 3 different tabs. The first window, the second window, and the third window. The first 2 windows are customizable by client, campaign, ad groups, ads, or keywords, and the second window have the following inlaid sections. It's easy to switch between client logins if you're running an agency account and you're running multiple clients at once. And you can also apply some changes to bulk campaigns, in bulk to campaigns, ad groups, ads, and keywords. You can also use the filter bar here, the search bar, where you can filter by campaign name, by campaign status, or ad group name or ad group status, or ad copy text, or any other field that is visible within the Commander interface. So in terms of the features, the main features that Direct Commander provides, first of all, it's worth to know that this is an offline app. So remember, each time you're starting to look at the stats or the most recent changes, you have to appreciate that your colleagues may have worked well for the same campaign literally a minute ago, and remember to download the new versions of campaigns with all the changes that's been made on server. And once you finish once you finish editing the campaigns or ad copies, don't forget to post your changes in bulk to the server. So to avoid the overwriting information, make sure you collaborate with your colleagues, making sure that they are not overriding the changes that you've made, or you are not overriding the changes that they've made. So before, so in order not to do all these things where this will definitely happen, an issue if someone downloaded all campaigns and at the same time another person has downloaded the same set of campaigns and both are making changes to the campaigns in Commander and then uploading it once after another, there will be an issue with the migration and with merging the changes. As a general recommendation from Yandex would be to download only necessary data in order not to affect the other colleagues' work at the same time. Also, there's a few bits that you can download from the interface. It's either main data, which is basically campaign structure with all the ad groups, keywords, and ad copies in it, and a separate button to download statistics and bits. The all data button here includes both the core data and statistics and bits. Same goes to upload. You either upload all data, which will include any changes done with campaign name or with ad group names or with keywords or ad copies, and bits that you may have changed for the keywords. The import and export features are also available on Yandex Commander, so you can import anything regarding the you can import from the Excel sheet, and you can also export it to work on another machine or to play around with the ad copies in Excel and to do some amendments and then to upload it back to the server via import feature. The changes to existing campaigns may be also done in a very quick way. The examples of what you can do is to change the status of the campaign or to change some status of ad copies or apply some changes to the ad copies, keywords, or campaign settings. And finally, you can play around with bits either by raise it by 20% or to decrease whatever you would like, or to do and review some traffic volumes that the keywords we're bidding on. In terms of changes happening to existing campaign, what you can do is to add new elements like new ad based on the old one, but with different message, or you can set up some new element like headline or site link, or add some callouts, so any other features that is supported by the engine. You can also find and replace, and this will quickly give you an option to do the changes with asterisks and with wild cards, with wild characters, sorry. And you can also add to the end some negative keywords to the list, because the negative lists are structured in Yandex in the way that they are listed all with comma separated. So whenever you want to add a new negative keyword on campaign level, you would add it in the very end after all existing. Or you can add tracking parameter to the campaign tracking to match some new UTM parameter or any other parameter to track for other analytical tool. In terms of features that are useful and is working on a daily basis, I would recommend you to look through navigation and filtering keywords. So if you select the client and campaign and the group, and then you select the keyword on the next step, you can specify whatever campaign you're running and then apply ad group. with this in mind, there will be a list of keywords within each ad group that you've selected, or if you select multiple ones, there will be a list of keywords from different ad groups. And finally, you can specify any conditions you like to filter any keywords. Here's the only one keyword listed, so not many conditions can be matched, but still you can specify this one. Now, when you think of new keywords, the good news is that Yandex.Direct Commander is linked to the word stat, and it whilst you adding new keywords to the list of existing, you can think of keyword ideas, and then the keyword planner, the internal keyword planner, which is based on the word stat, will give you a list of the keyword ideas to add here as well. This will either be nested, so inlaid queries, long tail with addition of what is here. So for instance, if I added sneakers, I have Nike sneakers, sneaker shop, sneaker shopping, salon sneaker, etc. All of these nested, so-called nested keywords can be added to the here to the next tab where I will distribute and then add them to the campaign if necessary. So basically the workaround with keywords list can be done within Yandex Commander without visiting a word stat. Another great feature that I wanted to highlight to you is remove duplicates and overlap. This is also available on the keywords tab, where the pencil symbol is highlighted. So we click here with edit, and you would either click on optimize keywords or replace or change keyword case. The optimized keywords will bring you up to the inlaid window where you can either eliminate overlaps and merge duplicates, or you can separately do these two operations to merge duplicates or eliminate overlaps. And then finally, you can apply and see the changes that the Yandex Commander has done. Another great feature that Commander has is the bid wizard. I've quickly touched base bid wizard in the web interface. The same bid wizard is here enabled in offline editor. In order to do all the operations, you first need to download the bids from the engine, from the server, to make sure that these bits are most up to date. And then click on bits button here, which will bring you to the next step where you can highlight and select the traffic volume you'd like to target, and to either increase bid by a certain percentage and specify the maximum bid that you'd like to have, or just untick this and just select the traffic volume and apply. This will not apply and change any bits on the server until you upload the campaigns. So until you upload the bits, so don't remember to click the upload button here, or it's actually much more visible here, upload button. There's a list of useful keyboard shortcuts that you may want to learn and to navigate. Most of them are quite consistent with what you are familiar with if you're working on Windows machine or Macintosh. So there's also one great feature of selecting a list. So if you can, or actually selecting a column, it's not listed here, but if you click on the column with names, for instance, the right-hand side, it will give you an option to select the whole column here, to copy and paste it there somewhere else, to edit the following the column if necessary. Here's a list of all the hotkeys available in the Yandex Commander. So familiarize yourself if you're confident on working with the keyboard shortcuts. As a summary, I would like to note out that Commander is an offline feature, an offline tool that provides you flexibility to work whenever you have internet, strong internet connection or not, regardless of whether you have it or not. Before you start working with Commander, make sure that your colleagues understand the difficulties that may be raised with the multiple changes at the same time. So collaborate with your colleagues to let them know if you are doing some changes. And analyze the result of campaigns in web interface in either Yandex.Direct or Yandex Metrica. The final note here about Commander will be a link to all the help center. This will give you a fresh start and a quick start if you would like to learn more about how to begin with the Yandex Commander, and this should be quite easy to navigate. So our last session for today is dedicated to ads for mobile apps. And this is another type of campaign available for advertisers to utilize. So what we are seeing nowadays in Russia is that Russia is in top 5 markets by app installs and top 8 market by revenue. Well, the App Annie prognoses that by 2022 Russia expects to remain within top 5 by the app installs, and this is nothing actually prevents this to happen, because basically the amount of internet penetration in Russia is only growing. The amount of mobile devices remains the same, with increasing the number of young generation uplift. At the same time, Yandex is number 3 in Eastern Europe by traffic quality that brings customers to mobile apps. We're seeing this both from power ranking, which means that the amount of the conversions coming through the mobile apps and the sources of these conversions. So Yandex.Direct is number 3 after Facebook ads and Google ads. Well, at the same time, in terms of volumes, Yandex is number 5, which is the top 5 of all channels. So how does this happen? How can it be that Yandex can be in the very top positions? So this is glad to the very high quality standards of both the Yandex partners that have the apps and the websites where mobile app campaigns can run, and the payment system. So the advertisers pay only for real clicks, and there's a strong Yandex anti-fraud technology that filters out the low quality traffic, and it gets the funds back on the advertiser accounts for any invalid clicks. This brings us to the opinion that if you want to optimize your campaign for mobile app and run the campaign for mobile app promotion, you should potentially use the most advanced technologies that Yandex provides for you, which is either keywordless targeting. This is a very interesting option that Yandex implemented for mobile app campaigns. for search and Yandex Advertising Network. So it's either auto-targeting or user interests. And two main strategies remains the same for campaign optimizations. It's either cost per install or cost per acquisition, cost per action within the campaign. So the detailed campaign setup it contains of the retargeting lists. If you want to retarget the users based on the same actions that were done within the app, or if somebody visited the website. So these both can be done via Yandex Metrica goals or Yandex Metrica Analytics, or from Yandex App Metrica. I will talk through in a bit about the interesting stories about App Metrica. Actually, let me jump now to this slide. So in order to understand what the advertisers can utilize to optimize campaigns, mobile app campaign promotion on Yandex, this graph simplifies the amount of pushes, amount of data that's may come to Yandex audiences. So on the left-hand side, you see App Metrica, which is the analytics solution for mobile apps, which tracks user engagement within the app and syncs with Yandex audiences very seamlessly. And it also provides audiences for further retargeting, lookalike, and bid adjustment. At the same time, if there's a main website available for the same brand, the Yandex Metrica, the biggest analytics can support with additional insights on retargeting, on lookalike, and then bid adjustments already or from the website. This all brings advertisers to a better position where they can target the retargeting lists on Yandex.Direct, further on search or Yandex Advertising Network. So this brings us to the point that the detailed campaign setup may be used for boosting the traffic, the high quality traffic to the mobile app install. Couple of case studies for you to review. So below is the stats for one of the client from shopping category, which run the campaign over a certain period of time, and the conversion rate from the both generic keywords and branded keywords was really high compared to the Yandex Advertising Network. This brings us to the point that this should be continuously installed drive conversions through the search, whereas in-app events was also at a very high conversion rate. I would note that the Yandex Advertising Network brought so many impressions. It was 100 times more from the clicks point of view compared to the search for branded keywords, that it's very doubtable to compare these two sources. But nevertheless, this brings us to the real stats of conversion rate for the mobile app installs for both generic and branded keywords. Another thing is that, another story is how Yandex Advertising Network can be a great extension for the reach. So if you want to think of the same data, but from the different angle, from the angle of amount of installs, this brings us to the position of the advertising network being the leader here, as the traffic and the cost per install is very low, with the amounts given here more than 10 times more than the search from branded keywords. And at the same time, the amount of purchases made from the app install campaign, and the amount of purchases within app was way at a way higher amounts with even lower CPA compared to the generic keywords in search. So these two cases were as a result of using the very interesting techniques of keywordless targeting. And the keywordless targeting is something very interesting, and it is either auto-targeting that allows you to bid on the Yandex search without any keywords, and it's applicable to both new and existing campaigns. So you can enable auto-targeting on the group edit page. At the same time, there's a targeting by interests, which is available in Yandex Advertising Network for all campaign types, but on search, this is only available for ads for mobile apps. And it gives the option to determine the user who saw a specific ad based on their interest. And this two tables below simplifies and the amount of keywordless targeting boosts that can boost the campaign installs as a complementary to the keywords targeting. And the very nice CPI cost per install. You can see that for Yandex Advertising Network, the cost per install was only 1.2, whereas the keyword targeting campaign on the same placement was 1.3. Same goes to the search as a targeting source. The keyword-based campaign drove installs at 0.2 CPI, whereas interest-based, which is targeting by interest, brought only 0.3 at this CPI. The number of installs was relatively the same. Another case study introduced by Yandex is about the cost per install or CPA bidding strategies. So targeting the target CPA strategy can optimize your conversions over the weeks. So here in the graph you see over the 4 weeks the dynamics of amount of conversions. Conversions increased significantly after the first week, jumped almost 4 times, whereas the cost per acquisition within campaign stayed relatively the same and even lowered from week 1 to week 2. Another case study that is something that's interesting happening on the in the Russian on the Russian market is provided by FCMyaki.ru. It's the online t-shirt store. So they have tested the Yandex app install campaign compared to the other advertising system, and they've seen that the RPU, so average revenue per user, increased by 89% compared to the other advertising network, so other advertising system, whilst the cost per install was a little bit higher. And we see that from these graphs that the share of ad spend was a little bit less. But with the higher average revenue per user, this brings us to the idea that Yandex.Direct is a significantly higher efficiency, at a significantly higher efficiency system that can drive app installs. One more case to talk about the value of retargeting on Yandex and how the retargeting can support driving more users to in-app purchases and in-app actions. So here you can see the follow actions. So clients that stopped using app or didn't make any in-app purchase for a long time were retargeted by anonymized IDs from Yandex audiences. And afterwards, Yandex audiences were segment was created, and another campaign was generated on Yandex Advertising Network to target this audience, which brought to the 67% of clicks conversion to reattribution and 22% to purchases. So Russia is very famous for having reinstalling campaigns. So every fifth app is reinstalled on Yandex compared to the other countries. So here we must say that a lot of users reinstall the app, install the app after several months of inactivity, once they were brought back again with the marketing activities. And how is this done? This is done basically by knowing the in-app actions. And here is essential to track the in-app actions either with App Metrica or with another analytical solutions for mobile apps. If you and your client has an App Metrica installed, this is seamlessly integrated into Yandex.Direct system, and the list of audiences can be supported with the targeting activities, seamlessly integrated and then retargeted. However, if you don't have Metrica, the App Metrica, or there's another analytical tool that tracks in-app actions, this is not a problem. This can be integrated via API with Yandex audiences, as we've talked before during the day. And furthermore, this can be utilized if API connection for some reasons is not accessible, this can be used as a manual upload to the Yandex audiences. As a recap, so let me clarify what formats Yandex ads for mobile apps campaign has. So it has multiple formats, starting with the text and title with some action button, which can be customizable. This format serves either search on mobile or advertising network. Another view on another format that is accessible for this campaign is text with image ad. This is only viewable on advertising network, and this is very much a product that is very similar to image ads on Yandex network. With one condition, it leads to the mobile app store. It's either Google App Store, Google Play Market, or Apple App Store. And finally, the app can be promoted via video extension or video ads with a length of 15 seconds. It can be either standard video from the library of Yandex or a custom video uploaded by a client with audio background. This can also have a customizable title, text, and image, and however users can skip this within 5 seconds. The ultimate solution here is to test different strategies, and the one that we've discussed before about target CPA is the one that is recommended to use for installs and in-app goals based on either Yandex App Metrica or any other analytical solutions.